In his best-selling book, The End of Overeating, Dr. David Kessler tells us about our voracious appetites.
Big, fat, chewy chocolate chip cookies.
You'll know your pie is done when the filling resembles caramel. What's not to like about that?
Hi, I'm Rebecca Brayton and welcome to WatchMojo.com. And today in part 2 of our interview with Dr. Kessler, he tells us how to resist the siren that is food.
First, we'll start off with this cheese onion dip.
How do we cool the stimulus?
It's not something you do overnight. Diets don't work. Sure, you can reduce your eating, deprive yourself of 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, but if you still have that old circuitry, if that old circuitry is still laid down, that old learning, and I put you back in your environment, what's going to happen? Of course you're going to start eating again and you're going to gain back the weight. There's a huge plate of fries in front of you and you say, hey, I want that food. That's going to make me feel better. And it captures your attention. It narrows your focus. You really believe you want it. And sure, it's going to taste good. You have to understand it's not your friend and come to recognize that maybe you want something more, but that's going to be up to the individual. It's new learning on top of that old learning. You never get rid of that old learning, that old circuitry. So that involves new rules, new behaviors, but it has to be what you want. For me, I look at big food now, huge portions, and say, I don't want that. That's not going to make me feel good. So I eat about half of what I used to eat.
Is it possible to use food as a reward responsibly?
Food has to taste good. It's not going to work if you substitute things that you don't want for things that drive your behavior. So what you need to do is find what you want. Eat in a planned way, eat in a structured way, have some rules for yourself.
What about those segments of the population who don't necessarily have access to healthful food, because they say junk food is cheaper and that's what I'm going to eat?
It's not just fast food, it's the problem. I mean, it's also going to any, mid-North American restaurant. You want to eat a hamburger, I'm not a food purist. That's fine if it's 400 or 500 calories. So in that hamburger, you add the cheese, the bacon, the sauce, and that 500 calories becomes 1,000 or 1,500. That's when the problem occurs.
Would you say this is an unlabeled eating disorder?
I won't call it a disease. I won't call it an eating disorder. Millions and millions of North Americans, when you ask, do you have a loss of control? Do you have a hard time resisting food? Do you have a lack of satiation? Do you not feel full while you're eating? Do you have a preoccupation? Do you think about food between meals? The answer, a lot of people give is yes.
You refer to something as adult baby food. Could you tell us what falls into that category?
Increasingly, the food we're eating is so processed. It used to be that, average chew, was maybe, average bite was about 20 chews. Today, look at the average bite. It goes down in maybe 2-3 chews. So it just goes down, whoosh, and then we reach for more. Food is needled. It's bathed in sugar, fat, and salt. Sometimes it's double fried. It's as if it's pre-digested. There's no substance to it. We're eating, in essence, adult baby food.